Pathology Laboratory. So today, we will be discussing about infiltration, embedding, floating out and fishing out of tissue sections under sectioning, hematoxylin and eosin staining, and mounting. You will also learn the steps and how to do these procedures. So what are we waiting for? Let's go inside and let the learning begin.
Infiltration, or also known as impregnation, is a process where you completely remove the clearing agents from the tissue and replace it with a medium that will fill the tissue cavities, giving the specimen a firmer consistency and allows easier handling and cutting of thin sections to avoid damaging the tissue and its components. For the materials, we have a paper towel, tweezers, our specimen of choice, containers, and paraffin wax. So for the first step, I will be immersing our specimen in the first set of paraffin wax and leave it for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, I will then immerse it to the second set of paraffin wax and leave it for another 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, I will then immerse it to the last set of paraffin wax and leave it for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, I will then remove the specimen from the paraffin wax and put it on a paper towel.
Embedding is also known as casting or blocking. It is the process where the impregnated tissue is precisely positioned in a mold that contains a medium that solidifies it. Usually, the medium that is used in infiltration is the same medium used in embedding.
First step in our embedding process is making the paper boat. The paper boat will serve as the embedding mold. After making the paper boat, we will melt a candle as an alternative for paraffin wax. After melting the candle, we'll now put the specimen inside the paper boat and add the melted candle. And wait until our tissue block is hardened. And now the tissue block is ready.
Floating is a technique used in the histopathology laboratory to assess paraffin tissue sections. It allows it to stretch out, even out, and relax the tissue before being mounted or prior to being placed into a glass slide.
So at this point, I am to perform the floating out and fishing out of tissue section, which is under tissue sectioning.
After forming ribbons from the microtome, slowly place the ribbons onto the water bath. The temperature of the water bath should be below the boiling point of the specimen. In fishing our target specimen, slowly place vertically or glass slide beside the target specimen, then scoop slowly to avoid wrinkles. Here. After that, place the specimen inside the oven. Set the oven for 5 to 10 degrees above the melting point of the wax. Set for 30 minutes.
The next process is hematoxylin and eosin staining. Staining is the process of applying dyes on the sections to see and study the architectural pattern of the tissue and the physical characteristics of the cell. The purpose of staining is to enhance visualization of the cell or certain cellular components under a microscope, to increase or improve visibility, and to study specific features.
Hello, I am Zeus Jomar Garanyo and this is hematoxylin and eosin staining. The materials needed for this process are the flotation bath, glass slide, an oven, containers for stain and other reagents, and in those containers we have the xylene, alcohol formol, 95% ethanol, the hematoxylin stain, acid alcohol, ammonia water, the eosin Y stain. We also have the soapy water, the running water from the faucet, cotton swab, and paper towel. After sectioning, float out the ribbon to a water bath set at 42 degrees Celsius or 5 to 9 degrees below the melting point of the wax and ensure to flatten it out. After flattening, fish out a section tissue using a glass slide. Place the glass slide vertically to the target tissue ribbon and pull out gently to avoid wrinkles. Then, place the slide into the oven set at 60 degrees Celsius or 5 to 10 degrees above the melting point of the wax and dry out for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, take out the slide from the oven and let it cool for 5 minutes. Then, we proceed to deparaffinization. Dip or immerse the slide in the first out of 2 changes of xylene within 5 minutes. This process will completely remove the wax. The wax is immiscible to xylene, thus it is the reagent we are using today. Removing the wax is important to make the succeeding stages possible. Next, immerse into the second xylene for another 5 minutes to clear the paraffin-embedded tissue section effectively. Next, proceed to hydration. Hydration is necessary to remove xylene due its immiscibility to stain. Dip the slide into the alcohol formol 10 times. You can also use absolute alcohol in this process. From alcohol formol, transfer it to 3 changes of 95% alcohol. Rehydrating the section at a descending alcohol concentration will protect the tissue from damage and hydrate the section effectively. Into the first out of 3 changes of 95% ethanol with 10 dips. And onto the second 95% ethanol also with 10 dips. And dip onto the third change of 95% ethanol with 10 dips. Sections should now appear opaque. Next, wash the slide with soapy water and remove the excess albumin or impurities using cotton swab. Doing this is important to avoid unnecessary coloration of the slide, contamination of the specimen, and avoid artifact formation by the reaction of the adhesive on the free spaces of the slide. Then, rinse it well with running water. Drain the excess water on a paper towel. Next, stain the slide and dip it into the hematoxylin stain. Hematoxylin is a basic dye which has an affinity to acidic substances like the nucleus, appearing dark blue or purple in color. I am using Harris hematoxylin stain which has an alu mordant and is oxidized to become a more effective hematane by oxidizing reagents. After 5 to 10 minutes, drain the excess stain and rinse it with water. Next, decolorize the section and dip it into acid alcohol. Decolorizers will remove the hematoxylin stain, enabling differentiation by the counterstain eosin Y. Immerse the slide with two quick dips to avoid change in the tissue and rinse it immediately with water. Then, immerse the slide in ammonia water for an average of 5 minutes or until the tissue turns blue. If ammonia water is not available, use 1% aqueous lithium carbonate until the section appear blue. Ammonia will provide an alkaline environment for the hematoxylin-soluble red color to become insoluble blue, making the stain permanent. Then, rinse the slide with water. Next, immerse the slide into the AUCin Y. AUCin Y is an acidic dye that stains the basic components of the tissue, such as the cytoplasm and connective fibers. These structures are appeal shades of orange, pink, or red, contrasting the purple-blue complex by the hematoxylin. Immerse the slide for 1.5 to 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, drain the excess stain and rinse it with water. Then, proceed to dehydration in an increasing concentration of alcohol. Immerse it into first out of 3 changes of 95% ethanol with 10 dips each. Do it the same process into the next 2 changes of 95% ethanol. Lastly, proceed with clearing by immersing the slide with 3 changes of xylene with 10 dips each. This is to replace the alcohol and make the section transparent. Clean the edges and back of the slide and drain excess xylene before proceeding to the next process. Avoid touching the section while doing it. Then, we proceed to mounting.
The next process is mounting. Mounting is the application of syrup fluid between the section and the cover slip after staining. It sets the section firmly and prevents the movement of cover slip. The main purpose of mounting is to protect the stained section from getting scratched and from bleaching or deterioration. It also preserves the slide for permanent keeping and facilitates easy handling and storage.
My name is Silat Alejo and I'm going to perform the mounting procedure.
So here is a slide with the section. Upon the section, place a drop of the mountant. Next is to get the cover slip, and it needs to touch the inch of the drop. And then I will lower it slowly until the mountain spreads over the tissue. And then wipe if there's an excess of the mountain, and then if there are air bubbles, it may be removed with gentle pressure.